Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, there is another article on TrekMovie.com which has a few little interesting bits. It's an interview with Michelle Paradise and Alex Kurtzman, and they do confirm that the new season is not a science fiction show. It's an action adventure show inspired by Indiana Jones. And that's what they were going for. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they envisioned. They saw this city in the desert and this archaeological thing, and just that's just the way they saw it as an Indiana Jones adventure. So it's really not Star Trek. It's not a science fiction season of show. And they actually said that. I was like, wow, okay. No need for us fans to point that out anymore. They've just flat out admitted it. And they talked about a few elements, difficulties and stuff, and they talked about how the characters, their arcs are sort of being ended by the new material, but they sort of were ending some of their stories anyway, so they had no idea when they were writing the series final that they were writing the series final. They thought they were going to do more seasons of the show. They thought they were going to do 13 episodes of season 5, and then there was going to be season 6 and season 7 at least. So they started working on that, and they just had to compact some things and change some things, and a lot of the characters' arcs, sort of, I guess, were completed, so they feel comfortable with how it's ended. Another thing that was interesting was Kurtzman kind of slipped up and said, when he was asked about, how the Discovery has grown, he said, when we made Discovery, we weren't actually setting out to build a universe, but they did, because they ended up having to do it due to the IP reasons. And they were just setting out to make a new Star Trek show, and his approach is to make a different show, well, to make them all unique and different is kind of good in one way, but to try and make them for a different audience, because he doesn't actually understand Star Trek and that there's a Star Trek fan base and what those fans want. He's just looking at the general science fiction audience and just seeing that as the Star Trek audience, and basically saying there are all these different subsets. We want to make a different show for each subset in all the Star Trek, all the science fiction sort of fandoms, or the fandom as a whole has all these different subsets, and we want to do series for each one of them. Instead of doing a series for Star Trek fans, he's just doing a Star Trek in name only series for the Battlestar Galactica fans and the 2001 fans and somehow the Indiana Jones fans. It's sort of the way he's looking at this. It's just he just doesn't get it, and he thinks this is the best way to deal with Star Trek, and the best approach is just to do, cater it for all the different audiences. When he's looking at the science fiction fan base, film genre in general, not Star Trek. So it's just a mess. And sorry I didn't describe that as well as I wanted, but I've done this video like 3 times. I'm not starting and doing it again, so I'm just gonna leave it here. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. The latest season is not science fiction. It is an action adventure show. So we're not going to get, Star Trek fans are not going to get what we want from it. They didn't really know that Discovery was ending, and they basically had to sort of wrap it up at the end. And Kurtzman thinks that Star Trek encompasses the whole of the science fiction genre and science fiction fans in general, and is trying to cater each series to a different subset of science fiction fans, not actual Star Trek fans in the Star Trek fan base, which is what he should be making the show for. And, maybe trying to expand a little past that with different elements or different themes being built into it, but the core needs to be Star Trek for Star Trek fans, and they haven't done that ever. And that's part of the problem with, this universe that he created. It isn't actually Star Trek, and doesn't actually, speak to Star Trek fans. It speaks to general science fiction fans, and Star Trek fans, there's no real reason to watch it. It's just like any other science fiction show that any other science fiction fan would watch. That science fiction fans in general would just watch any show that's produced, and they'll watch this show, and because some of these people watch it, they think that they've engaged some part of the Star Trek fan base, which they really haven't. So it's something we sort of already knew and sort of understood, but it was interesting to see him really say it, and for it to be in print. But yeah, I don't know if all these revelations are going to help Star Trek, what I was hoping was that they would just fail and give up because they created Star Trek that was too expensive to actually profit from, and they'd just blame the fans and walk away, and someone else would come in, reevaluate the movies and the series, and say, well, this doesn't work financially, this is not going to work, and basically do it properly. But if they adapt on one level but keep producing the same Star Trek, they may manage to keep it going, but we're never going to get, Star Trek again, the real show again. So it's a bit of a worry. I want them to fail and someone else to come in and start over again. The idea they're actually adapting to the problem and they might just continue on is more worrying than the show ending and then having to be sort of, rebooted again or restarted again. That would have been actually, I think, a better solution or option. But yeah, I'm going to go.